Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Even the Scales. Thank you all for joining me today. I hope you're all doing well. Today I'm going to talk to you about the 5 weeks that I spent in the local public hospital as an involuntary mental health patient. This was something that was carried out by my community and my family as a group. It was a joint effort, and I was taken there for a total of 5 weeks and held against my will. And it was all a part of the MK Ultra mind control that has been carried out on me for about the last 2 years, but it's been really intense since last October. If you are unaware of what MK Ultra is, it's actually a tactic that's used to abuse a person psychologically, to the point where it just breaks them. Turns them crazy or they pass away. So this is what's been done to me. And this is my way of evening the scales, talking about it on these videos. I'm posting them to YouTube, although they are not being watched yet. I'm hoping that there will be more views in the future as the impressions pick up, because I'm noticing that they are being seen more. But I also feel like my videos may have been shadow banned by the justice system as well and YouTube, so that they're not seen very much. But it's not going to stop me from making them, because it's helping me just to talk about it as well and get my views and my point across out there. So before I start though, I'd just like to acknowledge the Dharawal people, who are the true custodians of this land that I bring these messages to you on today. I'd also like to pay my respects to elders past and present, and I'd also like to extend my respect to all Torres Strait Islander people and Aboriginal people who are watching today. So the noise has continued, the noise abuse that's going on around me. The police have been one of the worst culprits with this. They were stalking last night, both the last 2 nights since I spoke to you last. I think it's been 2 days, 48 hours. The police have stalked me from about 7 o'clock at night till about 11, on and off, and also first thing in the morning when I wake up, because as I've informed you all before on these videos, they listen in on a microphone that's in my home, and they know when I wake up, so the police start the siren up pretty much straight away. They also start up a trail bike that rides around the area. This also continues on and off all throughout the day. And the neighbours have also been looking for any way possible to disturb my peace. Certain neighbours, not all of them. There's one neighbour in particular that just is totally obsessed with doing this. This person starts in the morning when they get up, and they don't stop until night. They just constantly look for ways to disturb my peace. There's been a lot of neighbours actually using power tools as well. It's just like they just take turns with doing that all around in every direction. And I've realised why the community are using noise. It's because like whoever's carrying this out, whoever's coordinating this whole thing, has researched my health, and they're using my health problems against me. So I have a pain condition called fibromyalgia, and a part of that is that it's like I can't really tolerate noise very well. So this is why they're using noise to try and break me down. So so there's that. And yeah, as I said, this is police, leaders in our community that are doing this, and grown adults, my neighbours. Like, I just can't believe that people, grown adults are taking part in something like this. Like, it's bullying, like it's singling out one community member and bullying them in any way possible. And, like, we hear of these terrible tragedies where people are taking their lives, even young people are taking their lives because young people are bullying other young people. And I think to myself, no wonder this is happening with the example that the adults and the leaders in our community are setting for these children. And yeah, I have actually seen parents from this experience that I'm going through. I've known of parents that are actually teaching their kids to come and bully me and or to taunt me and just disturb my peace. So yeah, they're actually teaching their children to do these things. So this is why it's happening. So yeah, there's also been light planes involved in this. There's been light planes going over all day. We have a local airport not far from me, so they're probably coming from out there. But there's probably been about 10 light planes go over today, and they do something with the motor so that it creates maximum noise. I don't know what they're doing, but that's what they're doing. I've also been to the shops a couple of times in the last couple of days, and I've also realised that someone has been coming in my home when I'm not here. So whether they're coming in the home to perhaps take pictures of the notes that I'm writing, or they're replacing the battery in the microphone in my home, I'm not sure. But the neighbours are also seeing this happen, so they're all involved in it. So yeah, there's people coming into my home when I'm not here. I have absolutely no privacy whatsoever. Even in my car, there's a microphone. So yeah, plus I'm actually being watched through cameras in my home as well. So yeah, I've been to the shops a couple of times and I've been stalked at the shops on both days. They've sent tens of people towards me, stalking me. And also in cars too. There's also been people trying to cause incidents for me on the road. This has happened several times on the way and on the way home. And, I'm a psychic channeler. And one of the channelings that I have received lately is that some of the incidents that have taken place in the past where there's been stabbings in public places and things like this, where they've blamed that someone has just gone crazy with a knife or a gun or whatever and attacked people. This has been because in some of these instances, it's been because the person that's done this has been the target of an MK Ultra attack, and they've actually been provoked to do this. Just the way that this has been done to me, it's been done to other people that perhaps couldn't handle it, and this is what they've done. And the people that are signing up to stalk and to stalk the target, stalk people like me, they're being paid to do it, obviously. But, these people they're not being told the truth. They're being told lies. And they're not realizing that they're actually perhaps putting themselves in danger. Like I'm no danger to anyone. I'm not going to do anything like that, but I can really see how someone, if they're weak, like in their mental state, I can see how someone could, get like that where perhaps they can't take anymore and they just start lashing out at the people around them. So yeah, I don't think the stalkers are aware that of what they're actually doing, and I also feel like they're being told lies to do it as well. And whoever's using them and paying them, they're also exploiting young people to do this. So, young people that need money and stuff like that. So I'll just talk a little bit about the hospital when I was taken there against my will and tricked into being put into the mental health ward. I was taken to a room, and this room was like I can only describe it. It was like a morgue, like seriously. It was very, very claustrophobic. And to me, the whole place had been designed in a way that was specifically designed for this kind of thing, to take people like me there and to carry out MK Ultra on them. It was specifically designed for it. in the room there was like these square, like, I don't know, holes in the wall, square. They were locked, like they had to be opened with a key, but they looked like the kind of things that would store dead bodies. Like that's what they looked like. And this room was designed in that way to me just to cause maximum anxiety and fear in a person. There was about 3 of those in the room. There was one in the ceiling too. So it was a horrible room. It really was. And I had no privacy in there whatsoever. 24/7 I was watched on a camera. So yeah, I had no privacy, no dignity or anything like that. And straight away when I started to meet the other people, the other patients in there, I knew straight away that they weren't real patients. I knew they were actors. Being a psychic, I knew this straight away. And this is what the people who organised this did not bank on. They didn't bank on me being so intuitive. But straight away I knew these people were actors. I knew that the names that they were telling me were not their real names either. And the one purpose that they were there for was to mock me and to taunt me. And what they would do, they would mock my body actions, things I do in my home. They would also carry out conversations that were about things that, only perhaps neighbours would know about me or my family. So whoever did this had obviously done their research. There's planes going over right now just trying to distract me. There was one when I first put the video on and there's another one now. Light planes. So it's good. It's good that it's happening because it's all evidence of what they're doing. So yeah, that's what these people were put there to do. And yeah, they'd researched my life so they knew how to try and trigger me. And the whole point of getting me there, like I was fine. There was no reason for me to be there, but they put me there. And the whole point of being there was to cause a mental breakdown once I was there. So that's what it was being done for. I also knew that the patients were not staying there overnight. I feel like most of them were going home, if not all of them. After I'd gone to sleep at night, they were going home or sneaking out. And as I said, the place was designed in a way where people could sneak in, out, and go undetected without me seeing. So this is what they were doing. And the staff would even like go around and do their checks, and they could they were pretending that there were people in the rooms of a night, but there weren't people in the rooms. I knew that. So yeah. There was also a noise that was being made for weeks in there where it was like a small animal was being hurt. I don't know how they were doing it. It sounded like they were doing something with a door. They were just creating this noise, this squeak, but it was as if an animal was being hurt, and I know that they were doing this just to try and cause anxiety. It was close to my room where it was being done as well. There was absolutely no disease control in this place whatsoever. I caught COVID there on about my 5th day, and it was given to me on purpose, for sure, and it was given to me, physically and mentally. Yeah, there was no disease control, and especially in the meal area. And the other patients were deliberately overstepping their boundaries, coming into my space. I would tell them, move away, but no, they would just keep coming and standing very close to me. And even sitting at the meal table with another person, you had no choice but to do that. Like, there was no social distancing in there whatsoever at all. And even the staff, if they came to take your blood pressure or do anything like that, they would stand like this. And they were doing it on purpose, like just to try and get an emotional reaction out of me. So there was no social distancing in there whatsoever, no disease control. On I think it was like my first day there or second day, one of the older male patients deliberately walked towards me and just coughed and spluttered right in my face, like spit come out and everything. Like, it was absolutely disgusting. But that was done on purpose. How I think that I caught COVID, though, was a patient offered me some chocolates and I took some because I am trusting. And yeah, I feel like that was when I got the COVID. It was given to me deliberately. And then there was another time when I first went in there where I went to the office and knocked on the door at night to ask for something. And the male nurse answered the door, but as he answered the door, he was actually had his finger up his nose, picking his nose. So this is the kind of, there was just no rules in there for staff or patients or anything like that. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe what was going on around me. I really could not believe it. But that was the whole point of it too. They wanted me to go crazy. They wanted me to, behave paranoid or whatever, and I didn't the whole time. I kept my cool about me through all this, and they really put me through hell. So yeah, so then they isolated me, like, because I had the COVID, but not until 2 days after I was actually after I tested positive. 2 days after they decided to isolate me. So it was like they didn't know what they were doing, and it was like on the second day it was like, yeah, like, get in your room and stay in there. And but before that, it was like on the first day when I tested and I was positive, I was allowed to do anything. So I don't know what was going on there. But they were also like mocking my beliefs and my spirituality. That was another thing they were doing. They actually put a patient in the room next to me who was doing this, and she was put there specifically to just abuse me 24/7. She was very good at it too, but she wasn't successful with triggering me to have a reaction or anything like that. But the thing was, she was being showered with gifts, visitors, and she was going on outings, and she was being pampered like anything. And of course, my family had deserted me, which was all a part of it. That was their role in it, to do that. So, yeah, it was all to create psychological distress. And yeah, once my family had me there, it was like their true colours really come out, because I don't think they thought I would ever be getting out of there. So it was like they really showed their true colours once they had me in there. And I'd done nothing to deserve this. I've always been a very overgiving parent, if anything, too good for my own good. And I couldn't believe how appalling that they were treating me. Yeah, they denied me visits and they wouldn't bring me the personal items that I needed. And at one point there, I was begging them to bring me in the things I needed, and it was like they were blackmailing me to sign over control of all my money and everything to them. Otherwise, they weren't going to bring me the things that I needed, and I wasn't going to do that. So, yeah, they ended up bringing me in a few things, but not near what I needed. And I had to end up ordering it online. So there goes the trial bike now too. But yeah, it's pointless because it's not going to stop me. So obviously they're worried about these videos. People are seeing them one way or another, or they're worried that they are going to go viral when people start hearing about it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing that. So they give themselves away like that. So that's like with the cops stalking every night and every morning. Like, why are they doing that? Obviously, they're trying to stop me. Like, why are they trying to stop me? So, yeah, they're giving themselves up. Like, they're just making it obvious that they're hiding a lot. So, yeah, I was really brokenhearted with what my girl's done, absolutely brokenhearted. And my the rest of my family members. You know, I've got a really cruel, abusive mother, and I know myself I would never, ever dream of doing anything this cruel to her, no matter what, no matter how she's treated me. I would never, ever do anything like this. And, you know, I was a good mum. I was there for my kids, and I just can't believe that, yeah, this was done to me. That's the thanks that I got for it. But yeah, the staff would also get my medications mixed up, and they would delay my normal medications that I normally take. They would delay them and not bring them to me. I'd have to go and ask for them and things like that. Just anything to try and, yeah, get me angry. They were allowing me to have things like plastic bags, razors, drawstrings in my, you know, the pants I was wearing and stuff, and glass and hand sanitizer in my room. And apparently, those are things that shouldn't be allowed in a mental health patient's room. The hand sanitizer, apparently, alcoholics actually drink that, but yeah. But I don't know. I think people were told a lot of lies about me as well. I think these people were told I was an alcoholic. God knows what they were told. But yeah, they were allowing me to have all those things in my room because they wanted me to take my life. So there's that. They would do things like mop the floor outside my room, and they would leave it really wet, and they wouldn't put up a sign or anything like that, like just hoping that I'd fall over. The washing machine, if they seen me wanting to do some washing, if they see me preparing to do some washing, they would get someone to race in there very quickly and put their washing in so that I couldn't do my washing. Then when my washing was finished, I would go to get it out and put it in the dryer, and I would see that someone else had already taken my washing out and put it in the dryer. Well, they were doing this because every time we were to use the dryer, we were supposed to empty the lint filter because there were so many people using it, like it could easily start a fire in there. So I was making sure that I was doing this every single time. But that's why they were taking my clothes out and putting them in the dryer without my knowledge, because they wanted to start a fire and then make me look incompetent for putting the washing in there without emptying the lint filter when I did not even put the washing in there. But this is the kind of, and this was the staff doing this. The staff were doing that. So, yeah, I would want to go to sleep without sleeping tablets because I didn't like the way they were making me feel the next day. They were making me feel all groggy and that, and I wanted to have a clear head because of what was being done to me. So I would go to sleep, and then they would purposely come and wake me up. They would find ways to wake me up so that I would be awake at like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. And if I didn't have a sleeping tablet, there was no way that I was ever going to get any sleep the whole night. So I would have to end up having one. They would try and give me two, but I would always just have one. But yeah, they were trying to feed me the sleeping tablets. They were also trying to create fake synchronicities because that's one of the ways that I get my spiritual messages is through synchronicities. And they were trying to create fake ones around me. But that was really good for me to experience because it just made me see that how I could really tell the difference between real and fake. So I could tell the difference between the synchronicities that they were creating and the ones that the universe was sending me. So that was good in a way. So my physical health, they would not tend to my physical health at all. I had to practically beg them to help me out with that. Like my heart was racing, I was having anxiety attacks, and my blood pressure was very high because of that. And they would actually go to the patients around me and take their blood pressure and pulse and everything, but then they would just miss me completely. I would have to go and ask them. And then when I went and asked them to have my blood pressure and pulse taken, they would like raise their eyes at me or like, make out like I was just like a real pain for coming and asking them. And they would also do that in the way they would, like, chat and have a joke with other patients, and that the nurses would, but like they wouldn't with me. Like they just get to me and like just, yeah, completely ignore me. So things like that. And they were also creating like fake scenario things, like just to try and stress me out, like outside of my room. So there was one where one afternoon I was in my room and they had a patient come through the doors with about, I think there was probably about four nurses trying to hold them down and get them through the door. This person was in a wheelchair and they were making out like this person was having a full-on mental health episode. They were screaming, kicking, punching, like it just went on for about 20 minutes right outside my door. But this was all staged just to try and create anxiety within me. And yeah, like there was even blood on the floor after it had taken place. So, which they left there. I had to ask them to come and clean that up. So, yeah, but I knew it was all fake. It was all fake. Everyone in there was fake. And there was another time where I was sound asleep and I woke up to two nurses just frantically mopping up the floor outside my door. What they had done, they had actually, the room across from me, they had made out like the woman in that room had flooded out her shower and left the water running. This was like at about 3 o'clock in the morning, mind you. And the whole corridor was flooded with water. But like that woman wasn't even in her room. She'd gone home for the night. This was the nurses that were just creating this. And yeah, it probably took them about an hour. They made this big drama out and everything about it, but it was all fake. It was all put on, all to create stress for me and to wake me up from my sleep. I couldn't believe that this was all being done, you know, like because of me. And, that's part of it as well, because if someone's schizophrenic, they will believe like that they're really important and like everything's being done for them and everything. So that was all a part of it as well. Like, they had it all worked out, but it was just that I was psychic and I could see straight through everything that they were doing. So yeah, I didn't fall for any of it. There was another time when they were creating like a fake haunting through the night. They did this on a few occasions. Like they would talk really soft through the PA system, like so that I was supposed to think that I was hearing voices, but I knew it was them doing it. They would like growl and, I don't know, grunt and do things outside my door and scratching noises and things like this, like in the middle of the night, like it was all meant to scare me. So I can imagine it would scare somebody if they didn't know that it was all fake. So yeah, this is the kind of thing the staff were doing, the nurses and the doctors. Unbelievable. What else? Yeah, they do their checks and they pretend that the patients were in the rooms, but I knew that they weren't in the rooms at all. They were doing checks like about every hour. And they would also, if I left my room, they would go to my bathroom door and they would put the lock into a lock position so that when I came back to my room, if I shut the door thinking it was unlocked, it would actually be locked. So then I would have to go and get nurses to come and unlock the door for me. So that was to kind of just make me look incompetent as well, like as if I kept locking the door, but they were actually doing it. Also, my meals, they weren't providing for my nutrition properly at all. I'm a vegetarian and they knew this. I think it was like not until my last week that they actually started providing me with the proper vegetarian meals. What they would do was they would make sure meat was on the menu every night, like red meat, and they would tell me this when I got there, so I would just have to have vegetables. But then they would have a full vegan or vegetarian meal already made up for another patient that said that they were also vegan or vegetarian. So this is the kind of psychological abuse they were doing, like just not providing for me, but for another patient. A lot of the nurses were really abusive, but there was one that really stuck out as just like really, really, really badly abusive. And first of all, there was one nurse that was just absolutely full of himself, and he come into my room one afternoon to take my blood pressure or something, and he walks in, hello, darling, hello, my darling, and he absolutely reeked of aftershave, this person. And I just thought, am I really in a hospital? Like, why are you wearing that strong cologne? And why are you calling me darling? Like I said, please don't call me that. Like, I don't think that's appropriate. And, I complained about his aftershave. So it was like after that, there was another nurse who was very abusive, and it was like this nurse just took out full revenge on me after I had complained about that person. And he would like deliberately wear really, really strong aftershave. This aftershave would stink out the whole ward. Like it was a big place and it would absolutely stink out the whole ward. That's how strong it was. And then the nurses as well, the female nurses were wearing like really, really strong perfume. They were all doing it on purpose because I'd complained about that nurse. They knew that it had, yeah, like just got that reaction out of me, I guess, and they were trying to get another one out of me. And yeah, this one nurse, he was really abusive. But also going back to the first one, I also believe that that person, the one that was calling me darling and everything, I also believe that that person gave me a drug that was a hallucinate drug that I wasn't aware of on one occasion as well. So, yeah, because I had hallucinations after having a tablet that he gave me. It was supposed to be for something else, but I'm pretty sure he gave me something that he wasn't supposed to give me. So, yeah, and then there was this other nurse that took revenge after I complained about that one. And yeah, he was wearing the cologne and, he would talk in his own language and everything, which is fine, but he would do it in front of me and he would do it in a way where he would be talking to another person. They'd both be talking another language and they would be laughing, as if they were talking. It was right in front of me. They would just be like us three there. And it was just really rude and it was being done to make me feel like they were talking about me and laughing. And then he would also get people to weigh themselves before they sat down to breakfast, which was like just really degrading to me, like for people to have to weigh themselves in front of everybody. And of course, I was losing a lot of weight. I wasn't being fed properly for a start. So it was like a shaming thing, like to make me look like, I wasn't eating enough or I was anorexic or something like that. But I wasn't being fed properly in there. So there goes another motorbike. Good on them. Um, yeah, so they weren't providing me with nourishing meals. That's why I was losing so much weight in there. He was very abusive, this nurse, and he also tampered with my food. I believe he tampered with, we were getting these little milk bottles that we put on our cereal. He tampered with those, and he was also tampering with my water bottles. I feel like salt was being put in my water. They were probably syringing it in with putting saline in my water or something like that. I could taste the salt in it. And with the milk, they were probably putting laxatives in it. So I know that he was tampering with my food, and the cook was aware of that as well. They were doing it together. So apart from that, yeah, like there was a chair in my room and it was put there deliberately because it had blood stained all over it. The linen press was right outside my room and I was put outside near that because I have had asthma in the past, and I did have a few breathing problems while I was in there. And they were sending people to that linen press as often as they could to open and shut it. Like I would get sheets out of it and shake them to put on my bed, and like just so much dust would come out of them. So yeah, there was a lot of dust being created from that linen press. And the linen, I'll tell you what, it absolutely stunk. I don't know what they used to wash it with, but a couple of times I got linen out, pillowcases and stuff like that, and it was making me reek. It was so disgusting. So this is what's going on in the mental health ward at the Campbelltown Public Hospital. So yeah, I couldn't believe that the patients and staff, so many people, even in this community around me right now, I can't believe that so many people are willing to take part in something that's just this cruel. And yeah, it's all about bullying and singling out one individual. And then they're wondering why these things are happening with our children. So it's just so wrong and it's so sad. And as I said, it's the leaders in the community that are doing it to the police. So, and yeah, with the stalkers, I don't think they're aware that they're being told lies when they're being paid to stalk people like me. And I also believe that they're being told terrible lies about me as well, some of them to make them do it. Like, yeah, to make them think, oh, yeah, I'll do that to her. Um, if she's done that, I'll do that. So I feel like people are being lied to. I think that maybe some of the fake patients in the hospital were even lied to, but still, that's no excuse to do this to anyone, because no matter what you've done, no one deserved to be treated like I was in that hospital. So I want to thank you all for listening. And if I think of anything else, I'm sure that I will. I'll bring it to you on the next video. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye for now. God bless.